Alrighty, welcome back everyone, it is LaughNgamez here. Today we're back with another Starcraft 2 1 vs 1 replay cast. It's going to be another Terran versus Zerg on the map Daybreak. And you may recognize the Terran player spawning up in the top right hand side of the map. In the red, it is MajOr. If you watched my last video, which I recorded about 5 minutes before I started doing this cast, MajOr actually went on versus a laser, so we're going to see how he can do versus Scarlett this time around. Scarlett spawning down the bottom left-hand side of the map, the red Zerg, playing for Team Expert, which is sort of a rebranded Team Acer, which is a very sort of strong team that sort of popped out of nowhere, which is amazing. Anyway, so we have Scarlett moving out, taking a hatchery first, very standard build on this map, which is Daybreak. Daybreak sort of has some interesting paths which can make aggression odd, but there's a lot of room for Terran to go for things like drops. Zerg has a good amount of paths if they decide to go for an attack. For now, it looks like just a standard build out of MajOr. I believe that was a gas first, though. Or no, that's just a barracks into gas. So anyway, gas for Scarlett. Very standard build between these two players. Now, Scarlett's one of the best foreigners in the Starcraft scene right now. She's certainly had her ups and downs when it comes to it, but apparently even all the Koreans have been saying right now that she's been doing very good. MajOr always so solid, so certainly can't count him out as a very solid player. Anyway, standard build for MajOr here. Reaper, CC. Terrans have been doing this pretty much since Heart of the Swarm, since 2012, something like that. It's a very common build these days. It's usually Terrans have been opening up with a gas first at times, but they always like coming back to this, and a solid player like MajOr certainly does too. MajOr going for a Marine after his barracks. Wanted to possibly pick off this Overlord, and this Overlord might be in a bit of danger here. Scarlett might not be expecting this. Gonna see that there's no reactor coming down immediately and get out of there. This Marine, though, will be able to give it a bit of chase here. This Overlord could be in a bit of danger, and that would be a bad start for Scarlett. The Reaper moving in. Actually going into the main base, trying to get some scouting. Scarlett's a player who has been known to go for some sort of tricky aggression stats, so MajOr seeing the gas, seeing the pool, seeing just a handful of lings, going to be quite content. Getting one of the drones actually weakened, going to get out of there. Or maybe not, he's going to stick around and get what he can. That Overlord for Scarlett, such a good player, knows exactly how long an Overlord can stay out without dying, and so I guess there wasn't really too much of a reason to be worried. Third CC for MajOr coming out of here. Very bold for MajOr, as Scarlett could certainly turn on some aggression and try to win the game just here. We see the Reaper gonna scout the third base for MajOr. Great control on this Reaper, by the way. He is not losing it by any means, just keeping out poking. Hellions on the way for MajOr here, so Hellions have been a lot more common for Terran lately. There was sort of a time in which every Terran was basically just going for a 2-1-1 or some sort of other aggression build, but not too much Hellions, but they're really coming back into the meta recently since patch 3.8. We see this Reaper is going to go down to these lings here. MajOr trying to make a run for it. Actually going to survive a bit longer, but this is going to seal the Reaper's fate. Trying to make an escape, and he actually might. No, it is going to go down. He might be able to get that one ling. Oh, the Hellions are actually coming to save it, but no, the Reaper does go down. A ling for a Hellion. Good trade for Scarlett there. MajOr patrolling, wanting to stop any Overlords poking, and as a Zerg player that scouts a Terran going for a third CC can be vulnerable. Well, the Terran player can be very vulnerable to aggression, and a player like Scarlett knows that very well. We see double Evo on the way for Scarlett here, so very sort of standard Zerg as of late. Zerg players have been wanting to go for the melee Zergling style. Scarlett, no other gases though on her bases, so right now just playing it, wanting to get up these drones. Going to play Lings, Queens for now. Good gas bank, just mining off that one gas, so she will be able to start her upgrades. And those will be quicker than MajOr's. Here we see the Hellions for MajOr. He actually has gotten 4 Hellions in total, so good map control for these Hellions. They can always possibly pick off a drone, but Zerg players got so used to having the early control in the games when Terrans weren't going for Hellions. Now it might be a bit offsetting for the Zerg player to know that Terrans are the ones who are getting that early map control back when they can. We see MajOr starport on the way. He's going to be going sort of for a stim push later on in the game. Certainly not some 2-on-1 aggression like Terran players love to go for lately. Instead, he's floating over his third CC, and this is a sign of a solid player, a confident player who knows he can macro very well. Interestingly enough, MajOr has 2 Hellions at each watchtower, wanting to get vision there. A good player like MajOr with a Xel'Naga watchtower is not likely going to be surrounded by Lings, so I guess he had nothing to worry about. Hellions seeing the creep pushing out. Scarlett's just saturating all her bases. MajOr's landing his third base. He's going to have those mules, so ultimately the 2 players are relatively equal on income here. Scarlett's got a slight upgrade advantage. That could sort of halt MajOr's push a little bit when he does decide to push out, but they will be on equal upgrades fairly shortly after. Medivac's on the way for MajOr. So basically just a very standard macro TvZ opening here. These Hellions are going to get a creep tumor or 2. That's very nice. Scarlett losing both of those tumors, so the creep is going to be denied, and this could create an avenue for the Terran player to push in, as they love to drop from here to here. It's just such a short distance for Terran players, so if they're pushing, they can always turn it into a drop later on, and that's actually one of the nicest things about this map for a Terran player. You see Banelings on the way for Scarlett, getting ready for the Terran push here. This Overlord is going to go down, only safe for so long. MajOr starting a wall off here. And Scarlett's actually supply blocked by that Overlord, so she is going to need to get out more. 5 Overlords on the way, that'll certainly do it. Now she's going to be able to produce plenty of units for this defense, but MajOr's push is coming in. It's a bit scary here. But MajOr not going off creep, but here we go. He's dropping into the main base here, and this is what I was talking about just a minute ago. But MajOr is going to pull back, settle for another Overlord. Scarlett's not going to be supply blocked by this one, though. Combat shield finishing up for MajOr, 1-1 finishing up. This is going to be where he's going to be able to push. His armor is a little late, so he's not going to be able to make Hellbats just yet for this push. He's going to rely on these Hellions. So good control will allow MajOr to push in, but for now he's just trying to trade with these queens, but that's a lot of Lings for Scarlett and the Banelings. Centrifugal hook's halfway done for Scarlett, so she'll be able to have a solid, very solid defense once that finishes up. 4th base on the way for Scarlett, just about finished here. Meanwhile, the Spire finishing up for Scarlett here while starting. Not quite finished yet. So and Scarlett's one of the best players with mutas here, but right now we see MajOr. His army did finish up. He's pushing into these Hellbats, but this is simply way too much for Scarlett. MajOr can't push in with this right now. Instead, he's going to go for a drop, 1 Hellbat and a handful of Lings. These other units are sort of just left out here, but the main story right now is MajOr parade pushing. He's unloading a few drops here, but they are going to be shut down, but he's got a good supply. He's actually ahead in supply right now, so he's pushing in. He's actually getting some great harassment done versus Scarlett right now. Drones are falling. About 9 drones went down there. Oh, Medivacs are going to fall though to this, but right now we see MajOr. He's pushing in at the 3rd base. Great split versus these Banelings, but these Lings are going to come in and clean this up. We see another push at the 3rd base being cleaned up. Banelings getting decent connections, but MajOr actually is focus firing those Banelings down. These 3 Hellbats and 1 Marines that were sort of left behind. All their comrades died in the drop, but they're going to have to run away. We see MajOr, so that was a very good defense from Scarlett. MajOr was up at 150 supply, if I recall, but now he's down. Scarlett is going to need to pull back, consolidate, get ready to absorb this next push for MajOr. 7 mutas on the way will be massive for shutting down these Medivacs right now, but this is a scary push. Scarlett morphing more Banes, though. Good control to deactivate these Widowmines, and Scarlett should be able to take this fight. MajOr pushing in, he's jockeying for position, maybe wanting to get a creep to him, but he's not going to be able to. Instead, he's going to settle for a drop. This Medivac is queued to go to the right, but right over and over where these mutas might even be able to catch that right away here. And Scarlett is rallying the mutas here. They're actually all heading over here, but I believe she would have seen that drop. Now she's actually just speeding up these 2 Widowmines that MajOr left behind. Zerg players have been doing very well recently with dealing with Widowmines. I mean, they've been dealing with them pretty much for like 3 or 4 years at this point, so they're certainly aware of how Widowmines are working out for Terrans. They're just experienced Zerg players like Scarlett should never take too big of hits. Right now we actually see that was a traitor Widowmine right there, killing that Medivac. feeling it's going to come in, clear up these Marines. A few drone kills for Major, but Scarlett's up at 82 drones. That is an absurd amount. Getting fed up with this harassment, throwing up on yet another spine crawler here. Scarlett building up a scary Mutalisk count here. Major getting a Thor, though. This is very neat play. It's going to solidify his push. Scarlett moving in. Actually, he had a couple of Widowmine hits, though. So 2 Mutas would have died there. The rest very bruised. So that's going to sort of prevent her from going into Major's main base. Major scared of these Mutas, throwing off a good amount of missile turrets. But this is a scary amount of Mutas. So they would likely be able to challenge that. You see Major, he's pushing in a large amount of Marines. This is one of the things that Major has been seen to do that makes him so bold, as he just relies on Marines, good micro and mines. Not too many Marauders here. Drilling Claws on the way for Major. He's got a Thoro. He's going to want to bring that to the front lines. It might actually be stuck though. Oh my gosh, it is. Look at this. It can't. It should be able to go around that mineral line, maybe. But it looks like Major tried to move that Thor, but it's stuck. He's going to need to lower the supply depot to get it out of here. There we go. He does. Nothing worse than when you start making a unit like a Thor. You're like, oh yeah, Thors will help me out, and then the next thing you know, you lose a fight and you wonder, where the hell are my Thors? And you see 6 of them clumped up in your base. Just bad caster things. Anyway, so we have Scarlett's Mutas moving in. Major's got a decent amount of Marines, and with the support from these missile turrets, should be able to shoot these away. There's lots of room in the space for Scarlett to try and get some damage done, though. Major stimming his whole army to try and catch this. These fake Marines, these changelings, have been chasing Major's army for so long, though. Those things basically take infinity amount of time to time out. Right now we have a few Marines being cleaned up. Scarlett spreading that creep once again. Such a scary Muta count. Terrans must have been in for quite a shock when patch 3.8 hit, as the Liberator nerf basically allows Zerg to go mass Mutas again. So this is a very classic TvZ here by all means. Scarlett's got a scary amount of Mutas, a good amount of Lings, good amount of Banes, equal on supply in this game. Actually going to move in right now, but the Widowmines possibly connect with the Mutas, and they do. Scarlett going to run up this ramp, going to bait out a few of those Widowmines and actually crash into the Planetary Fortress for Major, but most of those Banelings were absorbed. Scarlett onto the main base of Major, and a large amount of SCVs get hit by Banelings. How many was that killed? That was something like, 30 SCVs there. The third base, this game just turned on its head for Major. Scarlett attacking at the third base, attacking at the fourth base, moving in, just killing absolutely everything. This was just instantaneous. Scarlett moving in here. This large amount of Mutalisk, this good control, just completely destroyed Major. Major's economy just disappeared in a snap. That was it. Scarlett still spreading creep, macroing, getting up to ultra attack as well. This is a Terran. This is what Terran nightmares are made of. Oh, you'll actually have to forgive me. Scarlett isn't heading up to Ultra Tech, but I guess you really don't need it when you have 37 Mutalisks. So barring any crazy Widowmine and Thor shots aside, and as a matter of fact, Major has no Widowmines left. Well, he's got 3, but you're going to need more than 3 Mutas to kill this many. And look at this, Scarlett just moving in. 37 Mutalisks can just destroy anything. This is Terran nightmares right here. They thought they were safe, but then patch 3.8 came, and now good Zerg players like Scarlett are able to just destroy Terran with this. Thors have larger splash radius now, though, so they are going to get on top of these Mutas, but this is the worst thing as a Terran player. Having a Zerg move in, just destroy your CCs with a large amount of Mutas, and GG gets called. That was absurd. I glanced at the clock before this fight started. Both players, very, very high supply, very high macro, good amount of bases. I think it was about the 11-minute mark, and Major just has nothing. Nothing as Scarlett decided to attack. And here we are at the 13-minute mark. Everything's gone. Major has a decent amount of army left, but he knows the game's over. He can't handle this amount of Mutalisks. The Mutas got on his side of the map. The Terran player stopped pushing because he had to try and deal with the Mutas. And as a result, that just snowballed, and Scarlett's such good control managed to just destroy Major. It was just so quick. So quick in every possible place. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed the cast, feel free to leave a like. If you have any casting feedback, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I shall see you next time. Thanks for watching.